Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Had a bit of sad news this week from the world of showbiz. David Soul passed away, aged 80. Um, just a brilliant actor. Really liked his stuff. Let's see, what have I got here? To me, he will always be Hutch from Starsky and Hutch. Absolutely loved this program. Seen every episode. Watched it religiously. Um, I think it was about 1977 when it was first screened. I actually joined the Starsky and Hutch fan club, and I believe I've still got some of the fan magazines upstairs, up in the attic somewhere, and also, if I remember correctly, they issued you with uh, a sort of a replica police badge, which I think I've still got upstairs as well. But this to me was just the greatest American cop show ever. I'd be curious to know what you guys think of that. Have you got favourites amongst American cop shows? I know there are a lot of fans of like the Hill Street Blues and Columbo and all that sort of thing, but to me, Starsky and Hutch, 100%, absolutely. So absolutely love that, and also Salem's Lot. This at the time, this was also about 1977, 78. This was easily one of the scariest things I think I'd ever seen at the time. It was a TV movie. Now, normally TV movies were quite tame. This was a two-parter. I think it totaled 3 hours. Again, absolutely brilliant. Adapted from obviously Stephen King's novel. He was just superb in this. I think he played a character called Ben Mears, who came back to his hometown, which is plagued by vampires, obviously, as you can see from the front. But as I say, this was easily one of the scariest things I think I'd ever seen at the time. Just absolutely brilliant. So to me, David Soul will always be Starsky and Hutch and Salem's Lot. He also did something, I think, in the early 2000s. Wasn't he part of Jerry Springer the musical, which caused a lot of controversy at the time due to certain subject matter? But yeah, to me, a brilliant actor. Sadly missed. I will be having a look at some of the old episodes of Starsky and Hutch again. They're just superb. So yeah, R.I.P. David. Right, James Bond movies. They've always been a point of contention to certain people. Now the BFI have weighed in on this. They're basically giving Bond movies a trigger warning, or at least two of them. They're screening certain movies at obviously the British Film Institute. I was really disappointed by this. I've always thought if there's any organisation out there that would stick two fingers up at wokery and all this PCness, the BFI would be the ones to do it. But now they've come out, not so much in favour of it. Oh God, it's just. Let me just read out a little bit of this article, if this is going to work, because my internet connection is not brilliant this morning. Classic, here we go. Classic James Bond films could offend modern audiences, the BFI has said. The BFI in London's South Bank is screening a number of classic films in the coming months, including Bond instalments You Only Live Twice and Goldfinger. But audiences are not only being warned beforehand that they may offend today's viewers, but that they caused offence when they were first released. Really? Seriously? Let's see. The BFI has warned on its website, please note that many of these films contain language, images or other content that reflect views prevalent in its time, but will cause offence today as they did then. Oh God, just scrolling down a bit, just bear with me. The blanket trigger warning isn't only being applied to Bond, it's also some of the films that they're screening at the moment, including a couple of Michael Caine movies, Deadfall and The Ipcress File, and Never Let Go, a Peter Sellers movie, which I believe is regularly screened on Talking Pictures TV, which is now one I definitely want to see. There was a discussion on a TV programme about this last week. Let's see. Somebody said part of it says that the warning on the raft of 1960s films being offensive, they were also offensive in the 60s. And somebody else opposed that and said, no, I lived in the 60s. I can tell you I was not offended to see James Bond assuming the identity of an Oriental person because he was working in Japan. I mean, oh, God. I don't even know where to start with this. Where are we? Let me just get the last bit out of the way. Somebody else said, sometimes when I do watch James Bond, it does slightly take my breath away at how sexually predatory he was with women. Yeah, I mean, he was. Oh, God. Ooh, yeah, that's not one I want to touch with a 10-foot pole. Somebody said that it basically refers to a particular scene in Goldfinger that left him taken aback. I know the section that they talk about, and yes, it's not brilliant, but it was the 1960s. I mean, you've all been commenting on this. Let me just bring the notes back up again. Well, somebody, I don't know who it was, commented, some of Sean Connery's wigs were quite offensive. That's about as seriously as I'm taking it. Steve Mack said, let us make our own minds up what we want to watch. Quite right, it's part of film history. Leave it alone. We are on the edge of a Fahrenheit 451 society. Fahrenheit 451, I believe, is the movie where they were burning books to basically erase history and stuff like that. So yeah, I quite agree, Steve. At some point, somebody has got to stand up and say, do you know what? Fuck this. We've had enough of it. Just piss off, all of you, and leave us all alone. Bloody woke knobheads. Right, I comment. I never read my own comments out, but I've got one here. Blimey, it's the FBI. The FBI. Fuck's sake. Blimey, it's the BFI. Thought better of them. So yeah, I feel another rant coming on this weekend, which, to be honest, I don't even know where to start with it. I've said it all before. Guy, you replied, "Go Tony, go! Get that rant on video." It left me speechless for a couple of seconds. Then the inside of my brain was an avalanche of expletives. Rose, that's his daughter, was in the room, so it couldn't come out of my mouth. 1960s films have 1960s sentiments. Of course they fucking do. You bunch of petty, entitled dickheads. And he didn't put dickheads, he put something else which I daren't say. What the fuck else would they have? And it's quite right. You know what? These films are like 60 years old. I mean, just take a look at Alfie, Michael Caine. My God, that is shockingly sexist in all the misogynistic in all the fucking. You just can't imagine. Even I watched that one and think, bloody hell. But I still don't want it banned or cut or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's there for people to, enjoy if they like that kind of thing. I actually replied, who the fuck are these people that need protecting from movies with mildly out-of-date values? Are they really so fragile and delicate that a mere film has the potential to damage or offend them? Grow the fuck up. And Jackie Mears, you commented, exactly well said. I think this is the way most people sort of think nowadays. I mean, this thing with the Bond movies, it's been on the cards for quite a while. I actually heard that they were going to be cutting certain lines of dialogue and certain scenes from them before they are re-released on either DVD or Blu-ray. So I'm really glad I've got that box set upstairs. But there will be more coming on this. Every single week, near enough, there is some stupid thing going down about, something being cut or censored or, it's insensitive to today's society. It's like, fuck off, leave us alone. You know what I mean? If anybody out there wants to start a TV channel which basically screens nothing but completely uncut movies and TV from the 90s backwards, because let's face it, these attitudes, these outdated attitudes that they're talking about, they're mostly from the 90s backwards. That's pretty much everything, all TV, all books, even music to some extent, and obviously movies. I think Talking Pictures TV does a really, really good job of this. That's why I love it. They don't tend usually to cut stuff. But That's TV, which is a new channel that started off. They screen series like Till Death Us Do Part, Benidorm, Shameless, Kenny Everett, Benny Hill. I've even heard they've started cutting things, which is not good news, is it? It's just crap. Um, right. Oh God, I think I've gone on enough about that one. I'll be here all morning otherwise. Um, I had a little wave of nostalgia this week. I just got um, uh, sort of the feeling that I wanted to see the very first post that went up on this group. And short of scrolling back through 3 years worth of posts, which I really didn't want to do, I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I appealed to Jason to see whether he could find it, because he seems really good at finding stuff like this, and sure enough, he came up with it. Well done, Jason, nice one. The very first post that went up on Retro Movie Zone Chit Chat was the trailer for Quadrophenia, and I put, in my humble opinion, this is the greatest British youth movie ever. Any other films you guys would like to throw forward for the title? Guy, you said A Hard Day's Night and Human Traffic. Both brilliant movies. I only saw A Hard Day's Night for the first time, I think it was last year or the year before. Really, really enjoyed it. I can't believe it's took me so long to watch it. But yeah, I thought it was excellent. Human Traffic I saw a long time ago. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. So two good choices. And you put that you could also argue Star Wars. Really? Most of it was shot over here using English crew. Um, yeah, not sure about that one, Guy. Yeah, I mean, Luke Skywalker was classed as youth, I suppose, back then. Um, Lee Wood, morning, Lee. This is England. Now, I hadn't seen this at the time. This is going back, obviously, to 2020 when this was posted. I think it was November. I hadn't seen it at the time, and I made the mistake of announcing that. Lee, you said, take yourself to one side and have a word with yourself, then stop what you're doing and watch it, which I did. Jason P, bloody hell, Tony, you also have 3 series to watch. This is England 86, 88 and 90. I have actually watched them all. This is England is probably one of the most powerful British films I think I've ever seen. That ending is truly shocking. Stephen Graham is amazing. The whole cast is amazing in that. And what surprised me more than anything was that the actual series that followed, I think it was a couple of years later, was as good as, if not better, than the actual movie. I really, really enjoyed all 3 series. So yeah, good call on that one. I'm glad I actually got around to watching that. Jason P, you recommended Kez, total classic. I know Guy hates it for one reason or other. He don't like it at all. I loved it, absolutely loved it, still do now. And you mentioned Patang Yang Kipabang was another one I watched as a kid. I remember this being on Channel 4, opening night if I remember right, alongside Brookside, and I think you mentioned in that post a movie called Walter starring Saria McKellen, which I wasn't familiar with, but I had sort of heard of it, only just. Where are we? When I watched as a kid, but watched it a few years ago and wasn't so keen. So yeah, it's not aged well, I don't think, because I mean the thing is over 40 years old, so it won't have done. Another film I loved watching as I grew up was Whistle Down the Wind, and still love it now. Classic, absolute classic. Hayley Mills, Alan Bates as the convict on the run, hiding out in the kids' barn. The kids obviously think he's Jesus for some reason. I don't know why. I can't remember how that comes about. I need to take another look at that because it is a stone cold classic. Steve Mack, you went as dark as fuck with this one. Lord of the Flies. I remember having to read this at school, similar to Kez. We read it. It was a deeply disturbing book, as I remember right. And as a sort of a treat, if you could call it a treat, they organised a screening of the film at the end of term for the people that had actually studied the book. And I was quite surprised at how nasty the movie was, considering it was made in 1963, made in black and white. It's basically, if you don't know, it's about a group of kids from a military academy who let's see, they're flying across the sea for some reason. They crash on an island, and it basically details their descent into like savagery, anarchy, and all that sort of thing. It's a harrowing film, really, really is. So, but yeah, you could definitely class that as one of the best British youth films ever. So it was nice to see that post again. I got it into my mind that it was something else that I put on, and I can't remember what I said I thought it was now. My memory is getting so bad nowadays. But I do remember as soon as I saw the post, the Quadrophenia trailer, I thought, oh yeah, that was it. So thanks for finding that for us, Jace. That was brilliant. Special shout out to Lee Barber. He's broken his leg. He clumsy sod. How'd you do that? You were talking about some of the movies we were talking about last week. Young Frankenstein, what a classic. It is, absolutely it is. Brilliant movie. What else have I got here? Golden Shred, brilliant. I need one. Would you like another look, Lee? There it is, look. Really proud of this. This is going up in full view somewhere. I don't know where yet, but it is. There you go, Lee. I'll ask Donna where she got it from. I beg your pardon, you haven't seen Bloodsport? No, I haven't. I'm not a massive fan of martial arts movies, apart from the Bruce Lee films. I think that's pretty much it. I can't cope with Steven Seagal. I'm not bothered about Jean-Claude Van Damme or JCVD, whatever they call him. It's just not my thing. So no, I haven't seen Bloodsport. Home Alone 2 on Blu-ray looks terrible. The upscale to Blu-ray is so bad. We were talking about this last week. A lot of movies, a lot of older movies, I'm guessing there's only so much that you can actually do to them to clean them up. I don't know what the 4K's like. Chris, you're the one to ask about that one. Have you got Home Alone 2? Is it Home Alone 2 or Home Alone? Where are we? Home Alone 2. If you've got that one, Chris, let us know what the 4K is like on that one. It's really going really well today, as usual. Yeah, I'd be curious to know about that. Loving your TV thread, by the way, Lee. Some interesting ones here. Sweeney or The Professionals? God, that's a choice and a half. I really had to think hard about this one. I love both series. Obviously, the Sweeney is the one that I sort of bumped into first because that was out for 75, and The Professionals, I believe, started in 78 or something like that. Both absolutely brilliant shows. Both of them broke the mould. If I had to choose, I would say the Sweeney has definitely got the edge. I loved the Sweeney, I really did. I've got all 4 seasons on box set upstairs, and that's another one that I do need to get into. And I've also got The Professionals. So yeah, that was one hell of a choice to make. Going for gold. Oh my God, Henry Kelly. Yeah, I remember it. It was on. Let's see, around about 2 o'clock every weekday. Contestants from all over Europe, wasn't it? I remember. Terrorhawks. I'm a huge Jerry Anderson fan, i.e. Thunderbird, Stingray, Captain Scarlet, UFO, Space 1999. Never seen Terrorhawks. I think it was sort of after my time. I don't know why, I just never got round to watching it. Day of the Triffids, saw it a long time ago, and like you, I don't think it's aged particularly well. I've not seen it recently, but I'm guessing, judging by that photograph you put on of the Triffid, that looked like a crocus on top of a pillow. It didn't look the best. But I'm guessing it probably hasn't aged well, but I would love to take a look at that series. I do remember the movie version of Day of the Triffids, which absolutely terrified me. So yeah, I do remember that, and that was really, really good. Blue Peter, more of a Magpie fan, if I'm being honest. Blue Peter was okay. I used to like it at Christmas. For some reason, it was a very festive thing to watch, Blue Peter. But I preferred Magpie, if I'm being honest with that one. Teletext. God, when I got my first job at Comet, and also W.T. Parker's a couple of years later, every TV that we sold had teletext. It's weird because I didn't even realise they'd done away with it. It must have been years ago, but yeah, I do remember teletext. Rising Damp. That's one for the woke brigade, isn't it? The Cook Report. Roger Cook, my God. There wasn't a week went by when he nearly didn't get the shit kicked out of him by somebody he was trying to interview. Yeah, I do remember that. Wish You Were Here. Loved it. Winter months, straight after Christmas, it's either snowing outside or pissing it down with rain. It's freezing cold, and there's Judith Chalmers in the Greek islands soaking up the sun. Absolutely loved it. The Flumps. I don't think I've ever seen it. I think you put a picture of the annual on. I do remember annuals. Obviously, they still do them, I would imagine. Um, but yes, I do enjoy looking through some of the old annuals. I've got quite a few up in the attic. I believe I've got a couple of Star Trek annuals. Certainly got a couple of Doctor Who annuals. I believe there's a Charlie's Angels one, New Avengers, UFO, TV comic, all that kind of thing. Annuals were just part of Christmas. You got one every single year. I don't think it's quite that way now, but yeah, I do remember annuals. Bread. Never got into it. It's a Carla Lane comedy. I saw part of an episode on That's TV probably a couple of weeks ago, and I wasn't even sure what I was watching. It looked like a serious sort of Liverpudlian drama, and then all of a sudden you hear the canned laughter, and I thought this is a comedy, but it looked pretty grim. I just never seen it, and judging by that scene, I probably won't either. Mind Your Language, brilliant, absolutely superb. The woke gang, absolutely love that one. Every single racial stereotype you could ever wish to imagine appears in that one. If you've not seen Mind Your Language and you are not easily offended, then please take a look at that. You will absolutely love it. Let's see now. Jason K. Ginger Ninja. Great vid as always, Tony. Thanks for that, mate. Monsterverse. Godzilla 2014, followed by Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, then Godzilla vs. Kong. Now you could also go right back to the great classic Godzilla from 1998. I was on about the Monsterverse and basically being distinctly unimpressed with the ones that I'd actually seen. And I was basically saying that I thought they probably deserved a second chance with me. But I wanted to know where to start, and you've kindly provided that for me. I will be taking a look, most definitely. The classic Godzilla from 1998. This is the one with Matthew Broderick, isn't it? I believe I've seen part of that. It's one of those movies that I've seen the first half hour quite a few times, but never actually seen it all the way through. So that is one I will be taking in. And Mark, I think you did a similar thing for me. You posted it. I'll come back to that in a bit. What else have I got here? No Jean-Claude Van Damme. Wow, no, it's just not my thing, Jace. It just isn't. I love some cheesy Van Damme. Deadpool, great, sweary, crude, and funny superhero movie. I never got the point of it. I don't know what it was. It just didn't do for me what it seems to have done for the whole world. Maybe that's another one I need to give another chance. We shall see. Completely subverts the current lot of superhero films, more in line with Kick-Ass. Now that one, I believe, is the one that was written by Jonathan Ross's wife. I'm sure she's had something to do with that one. And I understand it's pretty much, well, very similar to Deadpool, so it probably is one that I might not like. I don't know. We'll see. Awesome t-shirt. Unpaid film critic. That's gold. I love that t-shirt. I will be wearing it when it warms up a bit. It's bloody freezing again in here, so the t-shirts are pretty much off the menu for that one. So thanks for that, Jason. Much appreciated. Gareth, kick Ricky out of the group. Oh, fuck's sake, what's he done now? You didn't actually put what he'd done. He's obviously upset you for some reason. He can't keep Ricky out of the group. Let's see. 23 minutes. I've got to keep an eye on the time. Steve Mack. Try Breaking the Waves and Memorabilia. We were talking about Lars von Trier films. Breaking the Waves sounds intriguing. I've looked it up on the IMDb. I'm curious about that one. Memorabilia. I couldn't find it anywhere. Did you mean Melancholia? I found one called that, and that sounds an intriguing movie as well. So you recommended those, as Antichrist is the best starting point with Lars von Trier. I'm guessing you mean isn't the best starting point with Lars von Trier. I have no intention of trying to tackle Antichrist again. It was just horrible film. You're on about Chaplin. It took a while, but I finally got all the Chaplins in the Criterion collection. I need to have a look at which ones are actually available. I didn't realise they'd put them out on Criterion. I've got a couple of box sets, DVDs upstairs, which I'll show off at some point. And I've also got a new one which I'll be showing off very, very shortly. We're also on about vintage TV. Might have been Christmas specials actually. You recommended Never Mind the Quality, Feel the Width, which was the one about the Jewish tailors. My dad loved that. I never understood it. I didn't get the humour at all for some reason, but he loved it. Nearest and Dearest, definitely understood that one. The lovely Hilda Baker, absolutely brilliant. Please Sir, super wonderful John Alderton. The Fen Street Gang, which was the spin-off from Please Sir, which was also good. Annette was great, so original. This is the Sparks movie. I was showing off the soundtrack that I was bought for Christmas. I haven't actually seen the film. I will be doing very shortly, as you'll see a bit later on. But it's one that I definitely want to watch. I'm a huge Sparks fan, and I can't believe I've never actually watched that. Ashes and Diamonds, that's another one that I was showing off last week. It's part of a trilogy. Second Run does the whole set as well on Blu-ray. I need to take a look at that. I didn't realise it was part of a trilogy. Now, with having that one on Blu-ray already, what I'd like to do is get the other two as separate entities. But if not, I found the trilogy on DVD for about £7. So I may invest in that, and that way I've got the two sequels to take a look at. With Texasville, they haven't got the license to distribute it in the UK. I was talking about the Last Picture Show, which I got for Christmas, and in the USA, on the Criterion, is it Criterion? Yes. Disc, they've got the sequel Texasville included with it, but not in the UK. And I was asking basically why that is, and you've answered that, saying that they haven't actually got the license to distribute it in the UK. So that's another separate purchase I've got to take care of. I really had a laugh with both of the Meg films. I love the original, Steve. I really did. I didn't take it seriously. It was just absolutely, as you say, good fun. And I'm looking forward to The Trench, which I will be watching at some point very, very soon. US TV. We were talking about American shows. Clarice. I'm assuming that is something to do with Silence of the Lambs. You have to let me know on that. Your Honour, I saw the first 10 minutes of the first episode and it was pretty nasty. That accident at the beginning was awful. I would like to take a look at the rest of it, but I think I'll trim or skip past the first 10 minutes now I've actually seen it. Rabbit Hole with Kiefer Sutherland. Not familiar with that one. Jack Ryan, not my thing. Reacher, definitely not my thing. Severance, not sure on that one. I know the Danny Dyer movie. Is it anything to do with that? Tulsa King, that's one I definitely want to take a look at. This is on Paramount Plus. This is the Stallone gangster movie series, which I definitely want to have a look at. Silo, not familiar with that one. The Offer, this is another one I want to watch. This is a dramatised account of how The Godfather came to be made. That is one I definitely want to have a look at, and I keep forgetting, but I will have a look at that. Manhunter, is that another Silence of the Lamb things? I'm not sure. Just a few I enjoyed. So thanks for that, Steve. Much appreciated. Right, I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back with you in just a few seconds. And we're back. Right, Jason K, our Ginger Ninja. Loved your review of the original Phantasm movie, by the way. I had a watch of that yesterday. I can't wait to see what you make of the rest of them. The Phantasm franchise is, like you say, it's one of those franchises that doesn't get talked about enough. It was a hugely popular movie when it first came out. I remember seeing it at Burton Odeon in 1978 or 79 when it first came out. Confusing as hell, but really, really entertaining. Absolutely loved it. Still do now. I haven't seen it for many years, but there's a rather nice Arrow box set out there which I keep looking at and thinking, yeah, maybe. And there's a cracking book as well, all about the making of the whole franchise, which I'm also looking at grabbing hold of at some point. But yeah, I really look forward to hearing what you make of the sequels, because there have been quite a few. So looking forward to seeing what you make of those when you get round to doing those. But yeah, really enjoyed that review, mate. Mark, The Secret Garden. This was one of Zoe's top 10. I was trying to determine which version it was. Turns out it's the 1987 version you said. This is also starring Colin Firth. I looked it up. It's actually a Hallmark TV movie, which I didn't realise. Let's see, it's quite rare. You can get it. I believe it's on YouTube. So I will be taking a look at that one at some point. Have you any idea how many versions of The Secret Garden there are out there? By the way, there are quite a few. And they begin, I believe, in either the 1940s or the 50s with a black and white version, which I'm trying to get hold of because I love sort of the old black and white versions of sort of books and films and stuff like that. So I will be taking a look at that one. And then you went off on some rant about football with Jason, so that produced the biggest yawn in the world. So I kind of backed away from that one. And then you sent me a timeline of the Monsterverse movies. Now, on yours, there were actually some animated movies which I've never even seen or heard of. I actually wouldn't mind a look at those. I'm not a huge fan of animated movies, as you know, but if they're part of the Monsterverse, I guess I've got to take them in. As you know, I'm not the biggest fan, but I do think they probably deserve a second viewing, so I will be taking a look. So thanks for that timeline, mate. Much appreciated. Let's see, Jason P. You put, I'll watch this tonight, the video. But going on what Guy said, you obviously mentioned trimming members. I presume that's because only a few of us participate. This doesn't matter. There's enough of us talking about movies and winding each other up that keeps it going. As to those that don't comment or post, they are still members and obviously enjoy the content. If they didn't, then they would remove themselves. Probably half have the group on sleep mode anyway, and or probably don't bother with Facebook. Yeah, I had to think about this after I'd said that I was going to trim the members down and maybe get rid of. You're quite right. It's not the right thing to do, and I don't know what I was thinking about when I said that. So, to anybody that did apply to, I do apologise. I don't know what I was thinking about with that. I think it was a New Year sort of tidy things up kind of thing, and it was definitely the wrong move to make. So I won't be doing anything like that. Definitely not. So you're all perfectly safe. So yeah, it's one of those, you know, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but on reflection, and I mean straight after I'd sort of mentioned it, I thought no, that's not the right thing to do. So yeah, I do agree with you on that, Jace. Then after you watched the vid, you put great vid as per usual, mate, much appreciated. 90-minute epic once again. I knew I should have taken notes, but I don't think I need to answer anything. Yeah, I mean, there won't all be 90 minutes. That was pretty much, I wouldn't say it's a one-off, but yeah, there won't be too many of those, I don't think. Believe it or not, I love Pretty Woman. I didn't see that one coming. Watched it many times, only saw it by accident as we went to the cinema on Friday nights at the Burton Odeon every week in 1990-91, which is exactly what I did in sort of the late 70s, early 80s. I was never out of there. You watched it on screen one, the biggest one. It was £1.75 for a ticket, but £3 for hot dogs. How the chuff does that work now? So with inflation, hot dogs should be about 30 quid now. I used to love the hot dogs in the cinema. I did, and the popcorn and the Coke. I could barely carry all the stuff up there. What else have I got it? The Whoopi Goldberg film you were trying to think of was the brilliant Fatal Beauty, which also starred Sam Elliott. That's the one. Yes, I do remember it. I remember it being on MGMUA video, and when it came into the vid shop, I thought, oh, this is obviously one of those straight to video things where it's going to be crap. Watched it a couple of months later, absolutely loved it, thought it was brilliant. Sam Elliott, as per usual, is absolutely superb. I love Sam Elliott. In The Legacy with Catherine Ross, 1978 horror movie, and also obviously Roadhouse. So yeah, I do remember that one now. Guy, great to have you back, mate. Right, here we go. Don't trim members down. Yeah, there is the usual group of commenters, but I guess not everyone has things to say. I would love it if more people got involved, but it's their choice not to. Trimming seems a bit harsh to me, and it is absolutely right, Guy, as I said earlier on. I reflected on it afterwards and thought, no, that's not right. And then obviously you and Jason commented on that, and I thought, yeah, no, it's definitely the wrong thing to do. So I won't be doing anything like that. Don't worry. Designated Survivor, you'll love it. I've put it on my watch list. It's either on, is it Netflix or Prime? I can't remember, but I've definitely put it on the watch list. So I will be having a look at that. How have you of all people, not seen Open All Hours? It's just one that I didn't bother watching. I don't know why. I love Ronnie Barker as the two Ronnies. I thought he was superb in Porridge. Open All Hours just didn't appeal to me, but I will be having a look. Ronnie Barker's brilliance in this is there for the taking, plus a great performance from David Jason and Linda Barron. This show is so your thing. I'm actually shocked you've not seen it. I don't know why. I don't think anybody was shocked by what I've not seen nowadays. But I will be taking a look at that, definitely. It's regularly on Gold, so I've actually got no excuse not to catch up with that one. Get Back, this is the Beatles movie. Epic and brilliant stuff from inarguably the most important band in the history of music. Full rooftop performance is in there. Plus, there must be a record for the most amount of fags smoked and toast eaten. It's on Disney Plus. Yeah, 3 hours an episode, so that's a morning's worth, most definitely. But I will be taking a look. How have you not seen Apollo 13? Rectify this. Don't know, just another one that went under my radar. Never sort of got around to taking a look at it. Tone's coming soon, keep it. The first thing you think of is usually the best idea, or maybe Tony's highlight reel. I'll have a think about that one. I will be starting that over the next few weeks, sort of coming attractions, that kind of thing, movies that I'm really looking forward to, sort of later in the year or in the future or whatever. What I'm going to call it is anybody's guess, but I'm fairly sure it won't be Tony's coming soon. I'm fairly sure of it, but we'll see. Lovely Christmas haul. It will be nice to see you in a different top. I'm not a fashion icon guy. I haven't got that many tops. What I would love at some point is to find a site that does this style of shirt with collar but movie related. I would love that. I've not found one yet. So if anybody out there knows of sort of the Fred Perry sort of rugby style t-shirts that are movie related, please let me know. And then you almost certainly will be seeing me in a different t-shirt. So thanks for that, guy. Can't wait for lots more Tony time in 2024. Hopefully every weekend, mate. That's the plan anyway. So Chris, Santa forgot to bring me any films this Christmas. Oh, poor Chris is the little boy that Santa Claus forgot. So I got some myself. I don't blame you. That's exactly what I tend to do. You've shown us the Cornetto trilogy, which is obviously Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. All brilliant movies. The Warriors. This is the one I was talking to Scott about not too long ago. I believe he's got the same one, and I believe he's told me that it's region free, so there's a possibility. Where did you get yours from, and how much did it cost, if you don't mind me asking? And you also mentioned Dune, which I've not seen. The only version of Dune I've seen is the 84 David Lynch one, which is probably one of the most confusing, vexing movies I think I've ever seen. And Black Hawk Down, which I remember going to see at the cinema. Really good. Yeah, and you mentioned that they're supposed to be visually stunning, so I can't wait to hear your thoughts on that one. Right, Mark, your TV thread. Loving some of these ones. We're actually getting into ones that I know now. Lost. My God, I watched the first, is it 6 or 7 seasons of it. It's one of those irritating programs that it's absolutely brilliant all the way through, and at the end of the episode or at the end of the season you think you're just about getting close to finding out what the hell this is all about, and then it goes off on a tangent. As far as the new season goes, it goes off on a tangent and you're not actually any closer to finding out what it is. I got to the end of season 6 or 7. I think there was one more to go, and I just couldn't bring myself to watch another season of it. So I still don't know how it all wound up. I do remember seeing someone a few months later saying, do you watch Lost? Yeah. Did you watch the last season? Yes. Did it answer everything? No. And I thought, oh, for fuck's sake. So there's like 90 hours of TV that I'm never ever going to get back. Really good series. I just didn't get any answers from it, as I'm sure you didn't. Most Haunted, loved it, absolutely loved it. This was obviously the forerunner of all of the sort of imitators that have come over the years. The satellite channels now are absolutely rammed with programs like what's that one with Zach Baggins, Ghost Adventures, all that kind of thing. These Woods Are Haunted, which I love, but Most Haunted was the original series. Can't remember the name of the woman in it now, Annette, somebody or other. I can't remember, but I do love that one. Yeah, Trolleyed, adored it, absolutely adored Trolleyed. Little Britain, brilliant, still funny now. It was supposed to be being revived for modern audiences. I take it that to mean it's going to be watered down or censored, or they're going to be told that they can't say certain things or do certain things, in which case why fucking bother. That is basically what made that series so good, is the fact that they didn't care what they said or did, and that's what made it work. So if you're going to bring it back the same, or don't bother. The Big Bang Theory, never really got it. Don't know why. I've seen a couple of episodes, and I will say it's really well written. It's a cracking comedy, but it's just, I didn't get it at all. Young Sheldon, that's the spin-off, isn't it? Obviously, with not watching the Big Bang Theory, I've not bothered with that one, but really enjoying the TV thread, mate. Same with yours, Guy, with the TV themes. The Sweeney, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Didn't recognise that one. For some reason, I thought it was going to be the 1967, which is the classic Spider-Man theme. Grange Hill, or, as it's better known, apparently, Chicken Man, as that is what this song is actually called. I would not have even thought of looking that up. Top Cat, love the theme to Top Cat. Smallville, never seen it. I used to work with a lad when I was at Marchington, picking at, what was it called? I can't remember the name of the company now, but I was picking there, and there was a young lad there that was heavily into Smallville, and he was constantly on about it, and I always meant to have a look at it but never did. Happy Days, classic theme. What about Laverne and Shirley? Would that figure in your TV themes sort of favourites? Because I used to love the theme to that one. So yeah, really enjoying that one. My own thread, I've only put one on so far. I said I was only going to do one a week, and I'm sticking to it. WKRP in Cincinnati, that had a brilliant theme, which I'll try and post at some point, but I'm not sure what tomorrow's is or this week's is going to be. I'll have to have a think about that one. Right, Hunya Geek is showing HYGIS or Higgis, the Christmas special. Really enjoyed it, guys, really enjoyed it. Definitely prefer the new mask, Callie, definitely. Bigger horns, much better. Invitation to guest, you've asked me on to guest on the podcast again, which I'm very, very flattered with. Don't you threaten me with a good time. I look forward to it, as I've said before. As soon as things start to settle down, as far as my life outside of this channel goes, I'll be more than happy to come on and guest with you. It'd be brilliant. I look forward to that at some point. Let's see. Like you, I love the chit chat that goes on within the comments. I mean, most of these videos at the moment are just other people's comments and me commenting on them. So yeah, I do love the interaction with people as far as that goes. I'd like to introduce obviously more features that are sort of original, like, as I say, the coming attractions, that kind of thing, reviews of movies that I've seen, more of that rather than just reading comments out. But it seems to go down quite well with you lot, so I'll stick with it for the moment, but there will be new stuff coming along at some point. Thanks for not spoiling Dial of Destiny for me. Should it be the last instalment? Yeah, I think it probably should. As we said, he's getting a little bit old now. Harrison Ford is 80, or is he 80 something? I don't know, but he's getting on. He can't do some of the things that he used to be able to do sort of 40, 42, 43 years ago when he made the original Raiders of the Lost Ark. So yeah, I think it probably should be the last instalment. As for doing you know, a spin-off with his goddaughter, was it Phoebe Waller-Bridge? Maybe, possibly. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Not sure how I feel about that one. I think when you sort of cut something off like that, you just literally cut it off and don't. Yeah, I'll have a think on that one and I'll let you know. You were talking about, oh, Guy, you said talking about binging series. I'm not normally in favour of it, but I have to admit I did it last night. Started watching, is it Mr. Bates versus the Post Office? Oh my God. I don't normally to be one episode last night, one episode today, you know, a couple more later in the week. Absolutely addicted to it. I just had to see how this was all going to wind up. What a story. If you've not seen it and you like a good, true story, and you like things that where the little man basically gets the better of the big companies and this, that and the other, Mr. Bates versus the Post Office and the Post Office, well worth watching. Absolutely. I watched all four. Started about 7 o'clock, finished at 11. Come to 10 o'clock, I was half falling asleep, but it's like, no, I've got to see how this finishes. Yeah, highly recommended if you get the chance. Let's see, what else have I got here? Jason P. Rosemary's Baby. I'd be curious to know what you actually thought of it. It's one of my favourite ever horror movies. So yeah, I'd be curious to know. You mentioned two others that you watched years ago that probably wouldn't hold up very well nowadays. It's Alive, which is the story of a mutant baby. It's a Larry Cohen film who used to specialise in sort of cult movies, that kind of thing. I thought it was really good, but again, I don't think it's aged well. And one called I Don't Want to Be Born, which I watched a few months ago and really enjoyed. Joan Collins and Ralph Bates, about a possessed baby. Really good. 1970s, about 1975. A bit grim, but really good. And I've set myself a challenge for 2024. I'm going to watch 50, maybe more, movies that I've never seen before. These will be movies that were popular and everybody else seems to have seen except me. I do have my first movie lined up, which is what gave me the idea in the first place. I'll watch it in a few days and give you my verdict. I've got no movies planned in particular. It's just if they pop up on the terrestrial channels, I'll give them a watch. And of course share it on here. My only rule is that the movie I watched was released before 1999. Really looking forward to seeing what movies you pick on this one, Jace. As you know, I live for older movies rather than the new ones. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what's coming up on that one. You did put your first one on, but I can't remember what it was. So yeah, looking forward to that. Lee, you said Tony will have to make it 250 as there are so many films he has never seen. Yeah, we know this. We know about the movies that I've never actually seen. So my watch list is huge, absolutely massive. So I will be coming on to that. Dave Oliver, the first Omen trailer and the Mousetrap trailer. I think, like you, I was a little bit underwhelmed by the Omen one. I do, as you say, need another one. I think it was a bit short. It didn't really explain very much. I didn't think it looked all that good, but we'll see. Maybe the second one will explode at some point soon, and it will be. It will make me want to take a look at it more. But like you, I think I was a little bit sort of nonplussed by it. As for the Mousetrap one, this is another one. Are we now at risk of being are we at risk of drowning in these sort of kids sort of horror movies based on kids characters like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which I enjoy, but I'm not sure I'm up for the sequel. I don't know. But Mousetrap, was it? It looked all right. It's definitely one I wouldn't mind taking a look at. Right, I'm going to wrap it up very shortly, folks, because I've got a few things I need to be doing. But I will show you a couple of bits that I've bought this week before I go. Just bear with me. Magazines first, as per usual. The latest issue of Film Stories. This is massive. You see how big this is getting now? This is the 2024 British movie preview, so looking forward to having a look at that. Latest issue of Total Film, which I might have showed off last week, I can't remember. And the latest copy of SFX, featuring Doctor Who, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Night Swim, that's a movie I'm looking forward to seeing. The Avengers, I'm hoping that means the TV series. The Exorcist, 5 Decades of Demons. Exorcist Believer is out tomorrow on 4K and Blu-ray, and I'm just debating which one to get. I want a copy of it, definitely. but I want to know whether it's going to be worth getting on 4K. I suspect it probably will be, and that's probably the one I'm going to go for. What else have I bought? A net. I had to get this because I've had the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack, but I've never seen the film. It's a long film. It's about 2 hours and 20 minutes. But it was, I think it was written by Sparks, the Sparks brothers, Russell and Ron. I love the opening track of this. Absolutely brilliant. And I get the feeling that I'm going to be enjoying that one. And Chaplin, this is the Keystone collection. These are some of his very, very first movies. Really looking forward to getting into this. I've got quite a few Chaplin movies upstairs, which I'll drag down for a future video just to show you which ones I've actually got. But these I'm really looking forward to getting into, and I've got no excuse not to watch these. They average about 6 or 7 minutes, so there's quite a few of them. But I'm always interested to see, you know, the origins of these kind of things. So these go right back to the beginning of Chaplin's movie career, so looking forward to having a look at those. Right, I'm going to call it a day at that one, guys. I've got a few bits to be getting on with. I'll be back with you same time next week. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Also like and subscribe, that would be very much appreciated. Hope you've enjoyed the last hour or so, and I'll be back with you, let's see, next weekend. Take care, have a brilliant week, folks, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Ta-da.